Have you ever wondered about a time when medicine wasn't just about pills and procedures, but about this perfect harmony between your mind, your body, and your spirit? Well, today, we're diving into the world of Charaka, an ancient physician whose ideas are, frankly, unbelievably relevant even now. Let's get into it.
So who gets a title like that, the father of Indian medicine? Well, it's often given to our guy, Charaka. But who was he really? Was he one single brilliant doctor, or was he more of a master compiler of ancient wisdom? The answer you'll find is super complex and pretty fascinating, kind of shrouded in the mists of history.
Okay, so to really get a grip on his work, you first have to understand the man himself. And what's wild is that his very name gives us our first big clue about the world he was living in.
You see, the name Charaka is a puzzle all on its own. It might not even have been his actual name, but more of a title, something that meant wanderer. This just paints this incredible picture, right, of doctors who didn't have a fixed office, but were constantly traveling, bringing their medical knowledge from village to village directly to the people who needed it.
So when exactly did this wandering physician live? Well, that is a huge point of debate among scholars. Some traditions place him way back in the 4th century BCE. But if you ask modern historians, they've narrowed that window down quite a bit. They'll tell you he probably lived no earlier than 100 BCE and no later than about 200 CE, a time period that often connects him with the powerful Kushan Empire.
No matter when he lived, historical accounts put Charaka right at the heart of the ancient world's intellectual scene. He's often identified as being from Kashmir, which was famous for its scholars, and he was associated with the legendary University of Taxila. This all points to him being a major player, which makes a lot of sense when you hear the belief that he was the royal physician in the court of King Kanishka himself.
All right, so we've kind of met the man, or at least the mystery of the man. Now let's get into the monumental work that made him a legend, the Charaka Samhita.
Now here's a really interesting part. Charaka wasn't just an author writing from scratch. Think of him more like a master editor, a genius compiler. The story starts with a sage named Atreya, whose student, Agnivesha, put together an early medical text. But that text, it didn't really get much traction. It was Charaka who came along, took that raw material, and just meticulously revised, refined, and expanded it, turning it into the classic we know today. And then, centuries later, another scholar, Dhritabala, came in and added the final missing pieces, completing this masterpiece.
And I mean, the sheer scale of this work it's just staggering. The Charaka Samhita is this vast, sprawling encyclopedia of medicine, and it's all composed in 8,400 poetic Sanskrit verses. It's not just a book, it's a comprehensive guide to everything from diagnosis and treatment to anatomy and ethics.
So what's actually in this massive text? What are the big ideas? Okay, let's dive into the core principles that literally became the foundation of Ayurvedic medicine.
You gotta remember, for his time, this idea was absolutely revolutionary. Charaka was pushing back against this fatalistic view that your health is just set in stone. Instead, he was arguing for human agency, the idea that we have the power to make our lives longer and stay healthy through our own actions and by paying attention to our lifestyle.
Okay, so at the very heart of Charaka's whole philosophy is this idea called the Tridosha theory. It says our bodies are governed by 3 fundamental energies or doshas. Think of Vata as the energy of movement. It controls everything from your breath to your circulation. Pitta is the energy of transformation. It's all about digestion and metabolism. And Kapha is the energy of structure and stability. So for Charaka, health isn't just about not having symptoms. It's about the perfect dynamic balance of these 3 forces. And disease? That's simply what happens when that balance gets thrown off.
Charaka also went deep on human anatomy. And this is fascinating. He counted 360 bones in the body, which, included teeth and cartilage. Now, modern science says it's 206. So, okay, he wasn't perfectly accurate by today's standards, but can you imagine? This was a remarkable attempt to systematically map out the human body without any of the tools we have today.
And get this, he was incredibly perceptive about our organs. Way before it was common knowledge, he correctly identified the heart as the body's controlling center. He believed that 13 main channels connected the heart to everything else, delivering nutrients and taking away waste. And crucially, he thought that any blockage in those channels would lead directly to disease. A concept that sounds an awful lot like modern cardiology, doesn't it?
But here's the thing about Charaka's work. It wasn't just a manual for fixing sickness. It was a complete philosophy for how to live well, a guide to achieving this total harmony of body, mind, and spirit.
I mean, listen to this quote. It sounds like something a public health expert would say today. It perfectly captures his focus on preventative medicine. Charaka truly believed that a doctor's most important job wasn't just to cure an illness after it showed up, but to teach people how to live in a way that stops the illness from ever happening in the first place.
And way before the famous Hippocratic Oath ever came about in ancient Greece, Charaka laid out this incredibly detailed ethical code for doctors. It's called the Charaka Shapath, and it demanded absolute devotion to the patient, total confidentiality, a commitment to learning for your entire life, and the highest personal character. It's just this powerful testament to the professional and ethical standards he knew were essential for anyone practicing medicine.
So, after all that, after this whole journey through his life and his work, how do we wrap it all up? What's the bottom line on Charaka's incredible impact? What are the key things to remember?
Okay, let's break it down into 5 key takeaways. First up, he was the physician, a true pioneer who gave us concepts like digestion and immunity. Second, he was the editor, whose genius turned an old text into an absolute masterpiece. Third, he was the philosopher, the one who championed that idea of prevention over cure. Fourth, he was the ethicist, giving medicine a moral compass long before so many others. And finally, he was the holistic pioneer, the one who reminded us that real health is about the complete harmony of our mind and body, not just about not being sick.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Charaka taught that health is all about finding a balance between our own internal world and our external environment. So, in our crazy, fast-paced, modern lives, which are just filled with constant stress and new challenges, how can that ancient principle guide our pursuit of well-being today?